Hello, welcome back to the MLB DFS Slate breakdown for June 10th. We're here. We're going to be breaking it down. We got a 6-game slate to go over. There are some interesting spots, some interesting pitching to talk about, and just different scenarios there. Now, before we get into it all, come join us at LineStar, $39.99 per month. Gets you access to everything we do, all the props, all the DFS. You get it all, one low price. All right, now let's get into the slate. As always, we will start on FanDuel and going through yesterday's main slate perfect lineup. So, Tariq Skubal was the pitcher you wanted. We got a 2-man Orioles stack, bunch of one-offs, and the winning lineup on FanDuel went to Peace Sonnet 1, who had Bailey Ober, only put up 17 points, and they still won just because their hitting went absolutely nuts. 4-man Baltimore stack, 2-man Cleveland, 2 one-offs, got it done. Marcus Semien went nuts. Tyler Freeman had a day. Gunner was Gunner. Jose Ramirez was Jose Ramirez. Jordan Westbrook went nuts. And then Adley Rutschman went crazy. 6 RBIs, putting up 42. Congrats to them. You took it down with your pitcher getting shelled, only going 4 innings. Pretty wild. Congrats to you. You won $20K. And let's see. They won by, 4.5 points. So congrats to them. Now let's get over to DK. Check it out over here. All right. Skubal, Palante for the 2 pitchers, 2-man Cleveland stack, bunch of one-offs after that. All in all, pretty interesting little perfect lineup, and too easy, 27, made it too easy. Congrats to them. They won $50K. They had Skubal, they had Evaldi, and after that, 3-man Boston stack, 3-man Texas stack, and then 2 one-offs. So pretty interesting. We don't see many of these, but, very, very heavy in correlation here with 2 3-man stacks. So love to see that. Congrats to them. Let's get on to the slate. Let's have some fun. All right. So pitchers, our highest owned, we got Logan Gilbert, we got Spencer Arrighetti, and Dylan Cease. Those 3 are all 30+% owned. Chris Paddock, 28%. Eric Fedde, 24%. Now let's go over them a little bit more in depth here. We got Logan Gilbert, 9,800, 2.2x. Our projection of him is nice. We got a lot of people liking him. Only one person fading him right now. 4.5 stars. Look, this White Sox lineup isn't very good. Gilbert is a very good pitcher. He's at home, which definitely helps him, and I don't mind going here. I do have to say, though, that for whatever reason, his K rate lately has been down. Only 18% K rate lately. His combined K rate is only 22%, so we may be lacking a little upside in here in this spot. However, to start the year, he was on absolute fire. He's been okay lately, just hasn't been that great. I definitely don't mind him. It's this White Sox offense that just isn't very good. The StatCast data has been good lately. He's been decent versus them in the past. I don't mind it. I don't hate it. It's just kind of what it is. Next, Spencer Arrighetti. Look, he gets the big boost of being in San Francisco tonight with that that very good pitching stadium. He also has been pitching way better lately. A 2.99 FIP over his last 5 starts with a 27.5% K rate. I think you got to be a little interested in Arrighetti at 2.4x, 6,500. We saw him go versus Seattle and put up a 30-burger, so he can absolutely get it done. It is a decent spot for him. This Giants lineup has not been hitting very well. I don't mind some Arrighetti as well at very high ownership. I think it's an interesting spot, and he's cheap. Not a bad SP2 option. Next, we got Dylan Cease versus Oakland. We know Oakland hits righties fairly hard. However, of the short term, that's not what they've been doing. 127 ISO versus righties over the last 20 games. Now, a little bit about Cease. He's definitely fallen off. 4.29 FIP over his last 5 starts. But it was against the Braves, against the Yankees, against KC, against the Angels. Aren't any good, but, you know, you get the point. He did face 3 very good offenses. Oakland is not that good offense. There is the huge strikeout upside that Cease brings. His line for strikeouts right now is all the way up at 8.5. So there's absolutely the chance of him getting double-digit Ks today in this spot. So I think you have to consider him. We have him at 2.3x. Projection-wise, very, very intrigued with him. Next, we got Chris Paddack. So Chris Paddack is slightly lower owned, still one of the high owned spots. It is against Colorado, low WOBA versus righties, low ISO. They strike out a ton. Paddack, meanwhile, 3.47 FIP over his last 20 starts. He's been fairly good. 4.47 over his last 5. Not quite as good, but it was against the Rangers, the Yankees, Rangers, Royals, Yankees, Guardians, Yankees. Those were his last 5. So very, very good offenses. He averages more at home, and his strikeout line is very high today. I think it was at 6.5. So this is a spot, I think, at 7,100 we should very, very much pay attention to. 2.3x is his projection or his value. 22% combined K rate. I am absolutely intrigued by some Paddack in this spot. Next, Eric Fedde. This guy's been pitching very well. It's been going under the radar a little bit here, but there's also some games where he's had big-time strikeout upside. 11 Ks versus Minnesota, 9 Ks versus Tampa Bay, 6 versus the Nationals, 6 versus Baltimore, 7 versus the Cubs last time out. Now he's going up against a Seattle team that strikes out almost 25% versus righties. He has a 2.47 FIP over his last 5 starts, 23% K rate. His StatCast data looks great. I think this is actually a very interesting spot, and while we do have him 20% owned or so, I think he might go under that, and definitely a possible kind of pivot option with Fedde here at 24.7% combined K rate. The only thing that I see two things that I see that we don't love in this spot. 1, we only have him projected for 1.7x value. 2, 21 plate attempts, they're hitting 286 off him. Now, it's only 21 plate attempts, so I really cannot express how that's way too little of a sample size to give too much weight into that, but is at least something to note, that maybe they've got him. But I got to say this too, that I think he is a way better pitcher this year than he was last year. So slightly intrigued there. All right. Carlos Rodon versus the Royals. He's been very, very good lately. Been good this season. 2.84 ERA. Striking out about a guy an inning. His FIP over the last 5 starts, 3.77. The only worry for me here is 44% fly balls, 34% hard contact. He's allowing a lot of barrel balls. He's been pitching better or worse than his ERA says. So maybe some regression is coming here, but he's in an okay spot. The Royals are a decent offense and have been very good lately. 303 average with 170 ISO, very low K rate. So I could see you going either way with here. I absolutely could see the Royals getting to him because of that hard hit rate, how many barrel balls he's allowing, but Rodon could absolutely make it happen too and shred that offense. Next, Jose Berrios versus Milwaukee. 346 WOBA, 174 ISO, 22% K rate. Berrios has probably due for some regression here. 4.37 FIP over a 2.73 ERA for his last 5 starts. K rate's not very high, and he's in a way, generally, in years past, Berrios has been a little lopsided for home-away splits where, for whatever reason, he's just a little bit better at home. And at home is when his big-time games would happen. I don't know if that's going to happen today. I don't love this spot for him. He is a good enough pitcher, works deep enough into games that he's at least interesting, and we have him at a 2.2x value at only 8K. My big worry is the upside. We only have him at 19% combined K rate. He just hasn't been striking out guys lately. And Milwaukee's only been striking out 21%. So if you want to get a little, absolutely totally fine with that. I just would not go overboard. Seth Lugo, this is an interesting one. He has been pitching unbelievable. 3.62 FIP over his last 20 starts, over a 2.4 ERA. Some regression should be coming his way, but he is one of those guys that is kind of allowed that high FIP versus ERA and just continually gets away with it. Not totally sure why, but he makes it happen. Now, over the short term, it's a 3.06 FIP and a 26% K rate. So he has actually been striking guys out, which hasn't been a thing he does for his career. There is some big time upside, but it is this Yankee offense where it's very good. However, I still don't think Soto is going to be in the lineup today. And with that, they're definitely a lot worse without Soto. So I am a little intrigued. We do have it at 2.6x value. Little hard to want to pick on the Yankees, but I got to say it's a little intriguing. The guy's been pitching very, very well. 23.6% combined K rate for him today. After that, we got Ray Harrison, Joey Estes, and Dakota Hudson, and I really am not too intrigued with any of them. And I just can't really go there on this slate. I think we got other guys to go after. And then on FanDuel, where the pitching pool would be even smaller, we got Dylan Cease coming at the high owned, almost 40% owned. Logan Gilbert, actually more expensive than Cease and doesn't have nearly the upside. No surprise that he is way less owned. I think Chris Paddock, 7,800 is super interesting, going the third highest owned pitcher. After that, Fedde, Arigati, Lugo, Rodon, all are interesting at low ownership. Eric Fedde, I'm very intrigued about at super low ownership in this spot. And then, Arigati, I got to talk about again, too, because he's been pitching very, very well. And, we saw that he's able to get you a 50. He just needs to be a little bit efficient and work a little deeper into that game so he can get you that quality start and win bonus. But his Ks are generally there. Got a 27.5% K rate over his last 5. So definitely a bit intrigued about those two low-owned options. Now, check out some stacks here. One of these days, we'll check out some stats here. All right, stack attack. So Dakota Hudson has the worst FIP over the last 20 starts out of any starter. Not that surprised. Colorado, not only is Hudson not that good, he hasn't been good in the short term. That Colorado bullpen isn't that good. I think Minnesota is a fine target today. They are also the biggest favorites on this slate. So one of the things you will notice, this slate has a lot of smaller totals. There's only 2 games, 8.5. There's 2 games that are 8. And then there's 2 games that are 7.5. Minnesota, minus 250. Implied total of 4.6 is one of the higher on the slates. Let's go to highest owned now. Minnesota's the highest owned. Houston is right after that. Versus Kyle Harrison, 4.59 FIP over his last 20, 4.7 over his last 5. He is a decent prospect here, but he's still young in his career, and he actually has reverse split, so lefties hit him harder hit them a little bit better than righties. So that is your Yordans. If, unfortunately, Tucker is not going to be in this lineup today, but I would be very, very intrigued by Houston if he was. Even with him out in the lineup, I think Houston can get to Kyle Harrison. However, Harrison is also better at home. But I do like these Houston bats. Yankees versus Lugo's popping up a little bit. I don't really love chasing a high-owned Yankees stack versus a good pitcher. If that ownership was down, I'd be all over it. But high ownership, not something I really love in that spot. Highest projected, we got Houston all over it. Makes sense to me. Carlos Rodon versus the Royals popping up a little bit. I'm okay with it. That's one of those pitcher spots. I don't mind playing both sides. Just a reminder, though, Rodon's been very good all season. And the value stacks for today, we got the Royals. We got the Mariners. I do like Eric Fetty, but I don't mind stacking some Mariners also. They do have some power, and they can beat you a couple different ways, so that is intriguing to me. White Sox that we have as a little leverage stack here popping up for the value as well, which that's fine. Highest ceiling. KC, Milwaukee. I would say Milwaukee is very intriguing to me. They have a ceiling we love. Berrios can get hit. He's likely due for some regression. The Milwaukee lineup can steal bases, can hit home runs. They can do a lot of different things. So very intrigued with that one too. And then lastly, let's get the overview. So Twins and the Yankees both have 4.6 implied totals. Houston's a 4.5. San Francisco's a 4.5. So of those four high implied total teams, the one that we never really talked about was San Francisco there. Spencer Arrighetti. He's been pitching good lately, but he was getting shelled earlier in the season. Could he revert back to that? Absolutely. So I think San Francisco is a little bit interesting. One caveat I would say there, as always, I just like smaller stacks of San Francisco. They platoon so many guys that it is hard to get 5 guys all going 9 innings and getting their full allotment of at bats. So that is my one worry there. Another thing, we haven't talked about San Diego on this slate. 4.4 implied total is right there. They're going under owned. Joey Estes is meh as a pitcher. I don't mind trying to go there as well. So yeah, all in all, fairly interesting slate. Definitely different ways we can go. Get wild, get weird. Let's win some money. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our video. Helps us a ton. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Good luck.